Everton currently only have one win in their last 7 games. The defence that was initially solid this season is now leaking goals. There are structural problems in the way Everton play out. And as well, with players playing out of position, it's causing problems all over the park. But these are solvable problems, and one player that I really think could help fix these problems is Merlin Rohl. But to properly understand this, we need to take a look at the problems currently facing Everton, what Merlin Rohl offers as a player, because we haven't really seen it yet, and of course how this will improve Everton as a functioning football team. Firstly, let's take a look at some of the problems faced by Everton so far this season. Everton in the last 4 games alone have conceded 16 big chances, with 5 of them coming against Crystal Palace. But let's look at why this keeps on happening. James Garner's collected the ball here from the defence, and he's now looking to play a forward pass, but with little movement ahead of him, the pass becomes rushed and almost forced in a way which allows Spurs to bait the pass into being intercepted, and through one long ball over the Everton defence, which is out of shape and unorganised, Richarlison gets a chance that he probably should have scored. Something I've noticed for quite a while now is that opponents are starting to target Everton's right side of defence, especially through their left wingers and the qualities they have as dribblers. Somerville's got the ball here, and this is one of 3 successful dribbles he completed in this game alone. Jake O'Brien has been forced to go out to meet him, to pressure him, but with Somerville being 5'7", nimble and quick on the ball, and Jake O'Brien being a 6'6" giant whose natural position isn't even at right back, it's an instant mismatch, meaning that Somerville can do whatever he wants, and he cuts inside. And with Jake O'Brien now missing that opportunity to tackle him, other players now have to become involved in trying to stop Somerville, meaning that Everton now actually have 3 players all trying to stop one West Ham player. And with urgency now being placed on trying to stop Somerville, it completely dismantles any Everton defensive shape that was previously there. Look at this. There's no shape there. There's nothing going on in terms of cohesion. And this has problems because mistakes like this, when there's no shape, often leads to defensive errors in the box, can lead to giving away penalties, and ends up basically conceding ugly goals over and over again. I want to talk about Jake O'Brien. I don't want to dig him out because his natural position isn't at right back. Before Everton signed him, he'd never played as a fullback before. He's 6'6", he belongs in the centre of defence, but because we don't have any right backs, he has been forced to play there, and for the second half of last season, he was quite good there. But the point is, he's a centre back. So opting to playing at right back will have problems eventually, and these are some of the problems. When he's in the middle of the box defending for his life, he's actually quite good. He reads the play really well here, stops a goal, heads it off the line. Pretty good defending and natural instincts are clearly there when it comes to these types of moments. And that possibly points towards him being a very useful centre-back for Everton in the future, which is fine. But in these positions, he definitely struggles. He's 1v1 here with Doku. Well, tell a lie, he's 2v1 because he's got Njai helping him. And even the best fullbacks in the league do get done by Doku, but this is very easy for Doku. Doku's able to get past him so easily and then puts a ball into the box. Nothing comes from it, but chances do get conceded on that side of the pitch with Jake O'Brien as the right back. And here's another example of Somerville exploiting Jake O'Brien as a right back. Because Jake O'Brien is 6'6", he has to crouch down and try to get as low to the ground as possible to have a similar centre of gravity to a 5'7" winger like Somerville. But ultimately, he just doesn't because obviously he's 6'6". I don't know if I've mentioned it yet. And as well, with Somerville having such quick feet and being so nimble whilst Jake O'Brien isn't, it means that he naturally does drop off of Somerville, meaning that Somerville now has space to work in, can move in either direction, meaning that Somerville pretty easily gets a ball into the box because there's no actual pressure within 3 feet of him, because he knows that he's going to be able to cross that ball into the box before anybody can do anything about it because of the distances involved. But I know I can hear you asking, why the hell are we talking about a right back when this video is about a central midfielder? Well, this solution will become clear, trust me. And for it to make sense, we need to now talk about Merlin Rohl. Last season, Merlin Rohl made 19 appearances in the Bundesliga for Freiburg, 11 of which were starts. He didn't really get much starts last season just because of injuries massively holding him back. And this is something that David Moyes has alluded to recently as to a reason as to why he's maybe not playing as many minutes as we want him to play. But he's clearly getting closer to full fitness because against Tottenham he came on, was able to influence things, although we were 3-0 down, so he didn't get to do much. Firstly, we need to answer quite an important question. what is he? In his career so far, he's played 9 different positions. But the beauty of this is that you see these 9 different positions and the experience he's gained all over the pitch come together to form what is quite a versatile midfielder. But the crux of it is that he is a central midfielder, but it's not quite that straightforward. Here he is for Germany under 21s, and he's at left wing. So what is a central midfielder doing at left wing? This is a part of his game that I think no other Everton midfielder really has, especially someone of the size of Rohl. Being 6'3" and to have this much control of his own body and being able to move it quickly is extremely rare and something that Everton absolutely have to utilise. Because here he gets the ball, drops the shoulder extremely smoothly and then couples it up with a cross and it results in a goal. But he's also good at getting into these positions despite not initially starting in those positions. Here he is in a central position being tightly marked by an opponent, but when he breaks forward you see the powerful running he's got and the ability to move up and down the pitch is absolutely there with Merlin Rohl. And again, he accompanies this running with end product and quality, something that all of us like, surely. But as a centre midfielder, this is the position we expect him to be in the most. And this is a position that he needs to be good at if he's to succeed at Everton. What I like here is that he's slotted between the centre-backs to get the ball, showing that he clearly wants the ball and is obsessed with being on the ball, which is something that I think is absolutely a mandatory thing for centre midfielders to have. A lot of midfielders nowadays do shy away from the ball, especially in build-up, stay quite high up the pitch. Merlin Rohl isn't quite like that. He wants to get the ball to then take it forward with him. And that's exactly what he did against Spurs in this moment. And as well, he accompanied it with a safe pass, but he also got us up the pitch to start with, meaning that less transitions are likely and we keep the ball, we get into the final third and we can make things happen. Another thing that could be a massive blessing for Everton is that he can read the flight of the ball very well. You see here, Beto's gone for an aerial duel, and we know that a problem with Beto is that when the ball does get played to him, the ball instantly comes back, and it puts the defence under so much pressure all the time. I like Beto, but that is a problem of his game. But Merlin Rohl is quite close to him, expecting to win that second ball. But this is what I really like about him. When he doesn't win the second ball, when Beto doesn't win the initial challenge, and Tyrone Mings begins to carry the ball, Rohl puts in a recovery challenge, showing that he's got the ability to obviously go forward, but obviously doesn't mind working back, putting in challenges, using that 6'3" frame he has to put in defensive tackle. In build-up, he has qualities that will just instantly help Everton when trying to get the ball up the pitch, something that we absolutely need. Germany's right back has got the ball here. Rohl moves towards it to receive it, making the pass distance shorter to be able to receive it quicker to then be able to turn out with the ball. And turning on the ball isn't something he even thinks about. He clearly just does it naturally, wants to open up the pitch, make it as big as possible. And then what I really like is that he puts in a switch, a very accurate switch, all the way to the other side of the pitch. And you can just imagine this pass being to Mykolenko with Grealish waiting to get the bounce pass from Mykolenko, getting us into the final third. So now let's look at how this affects Everton's tactics as a whole and why it improves us and what are the solutions. This was a team that started against Tottenham at the weekend. Obviously, when Everton have got the ball, Mykolenko does tend to get up the pitch. Grealish comes to about there. And then obviously we've got Jake O'Brien who does come up the pitch a bit. Meanwhile, these two do step up. Garner comes into here, Gay comes into here. Sometimes they switch around, but you get the point. However, Jake O'Brien in possession ain't really the one because he's obviously always going to try and play short passes, which are fine because Iliman Ndiaye has the ability to receive these passes and then just carry the ball all the way on his own, all the way into the box. However, it does limit Everton, okay? And defensively, we've already talked about the problems. So what solutions are we looking at here? Well, David Moyes actually did this against Tottenham. He put Garner at right back. Rohl came in. And I thought, personally, it was better. Listen, James Garner isn't a right back either. But he's got more experience than Jake O'Brien does. Because Garner played there for England in the 21s when they won the Euros, I think it was. And Garner does have that skill set that suits a more conservative right back maybe who keeps the ball and just plays these little passes into his teammates. But you know that he's going to keep it and you can trust him to put in tackles when you need him to. But how does Rohl fix these problems? And actually, how does he improve Everton? That's the question. Well, Röhl obviously does like to go and get the ball from the centre-backs, which allows them to just play short passes into him. And with him being so comfortable to turn, get the ball and carry it up the pitch, it means that Cai doesn't really have to come short to get the ball initially, meaning that he could, in theory, stand a bit higher, which then gives Everton a triangle of players all on the left side, allowing them to overload opponents, drag wingers out of play, but also drag opposition centre midfielders into wide areas in which they don't want to be in. And in theory, this does mean that it would create spaces in other parts of the pitch. With these three all combining on the left-hand side, stretching opponents, it means that it would drag opponents all the way to this side of the pitch, meaning that David Moyes then can work around, find the spaces created. We have spare men coming into the box. The ball could go out wide. There could be short combinations on that left-hand side, knowing that it drags opposition over there, meaning the ball can then go into the box where the space is for Beto, Njai, Dewsbury Hall, maybe even Merlin Rohl to come in late and score a goal. But let's talk about something that I don't think David Moyes would ever do, but I think it could work. And who am I? But let's see, because I think with this way of playing, James Garner, obviously he's a natural centre midfielder. It does mean that Everton could allow him to possibly invert, meaning that Rohl does have the ability to then go up, join the attack. Njai comes wide. Rohl can then look to target these half spaces, something that we talked about earlier about how good he is at doing it, with his crossing ability from these areas being a particular strong suit of his game. It means that maybe we could see combinations like this take shape, where we see these three combine, and it becomes a whole new aspect of Everton's attack, because obviously we know that Grealish, Mykolenko on the left have that kind of relationship, more so carried by Grealish's quality. But with these three on the right, it could offer a new dynamic to Everton, maybe not make us as predictable as I think we are right now. And as well, Rohl, he has a unique skill set. To get the best out of him, you have to play to his strengths, and maybe that does mean altering the tactics a bit. And, well, we've not been winning, so why wouldn't you at least try it? I'm back doing the Everton videos. I know I've been away. I'm sorry, all right? But I'm back doing the Everton videos. Subscribe if you liked it, if you learned something, or just hit the like button. Okay, bye. Thank you.